Welcome to the Mother Earth News and Friends podcast. At Mother Earth News for 50 years and counting, we've been dedicated to conserving the planet's natural resources while helping you conserve your financial resources. In this podcast, we host conversations with experts in the fields of sustainability, homesteading, natural health, and more to share all about how you can live well wherever you are in a way that values both people and our Mother Earth. So settle in and enjoy today's episode.
Good day, everyone. I am Kenny Coogan, and joining me today is Dr. Caroline Sobotyk, Assistant Professor of Clinical Parasitology at the University of Pennsylvania School of Veterinary Medicine. We're going to be discussing ways to keep your pets and livestock healthy. Welcome to the podcast, Carol.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation, and thank you for having me. Let's have fun and talk about parasites.
Yes. Hopefully we can have fun talking about them. So
I can have fun for sure.
Oh, good. So it's winter, and how concerned should caregivers of livestock and pets be, or are we more concerned about what's going to happen in the springtime and the summer?
It's an excellent question and very common as well. So, like flea ticks and other ectoparasites, so external parasites, can present different health risks to humans and animals, right? So it's important to take preventive measures year-round. This is the first and most important thing. Of course, their prevalence and activity will increase during like spring and summer periods because we have like a warmer temperature, we have more environment factors that contribute for the reproduction of those populations. However, and of course, the dogs, for example, are gonna be outdoor, like have more like outdoor activities more frequently than during the winter. This is another very important factor. However, it's not because they are not like very activity, they are not around like the parasites, and they are just looking for a host. I don't remember to have a very specific or season since like long time ago. So we are seeing like more and more warmer days during the winter and the fall, and we just need like a couple hours to increase this population. So we just need a little bit more like a warmer temperature to have these parasites increase and reproduce like very fast. So everyone, like dogs, cats, and humans, and any other animal, are exposed to ectoparasite infestations any time of the year.
And what are the real dangers of ectoparasites? They're so tiny and their hosts are so large. Are we actually concerned about these tiny creatures, or are we more concerned that parasites are vectors for more harmful things? I was just looking and they said the most dangerous animal to a human is a mosquito.
It's another good question, and maybe it's the reason why I become a parasitologist. I'm a vet, but I'm first a parasitologist and after a vet, I think, because I love them. I think parasites are so interesting because even like these small little guys can kill like a dog or even a large animal like an elephant, for example, or us. So they are so amazing. But of course, I'm biased. So their presence seems like irrelevant because of the small size, their small size in comparison like to the host, of course, but can cause like significant health issues and discomfort to the host. Of course, the transmissions of vector-borne disease, so bacterial, virus, and parasites, is the most important health issues related with these populations, with these parasites. But ectoparasites can also cause like anemia, especially ticks and fleas. Fleas can cause like allergic reactions, ticks as well, but it's very important in fleas population. So some people, when animals can have allergy because of the ectoparasite bite. In the case of the fleas, it's very common here in US and other countries as well, especially on companion animals, because there is like a condition called flea allergy dermatitis that is like a hypersensitivity reaction to some proteins in the flea saliva. So the dogs, so even like a very, very small numbers of flea, or even with 1 or 2 bites, can cause like this severe allergic reaction. Secondary infections is another concern. Ectoparasite bites can cause irritations and create these open sores on the skins, right? And this scratching, these bites can lead to secondary bacterial infections with it, can cause very severe dermatological condition. So again, like vector-borne disease is our first concern for sure, but we have like other health issues also related with the ectoparasite infestations.
So I can envision a little flea hopping around, or like a nasty tick attaching to myself or to an animal. And you said that these parasites are fascinating and you think they're amazing. Is there like a big difference in flea and tick behavior or treatment, or is there something that makes them really special compared to the other one?
Yes and no. Let's talk about what they have in common. So they are ectoparasites. So we are going to find them outside of the body, right? We have endoparasites that we can find inside of the body of the host, and ectoparasites. So ticks and flea are considered like ectoparasites. They are arthropods. They feed on blood. So this is another thing they have in common. They can transmit like a different disease. So again, virus, bacteria, and other parasites as well. So they can be vectors of a different disease, right? But they are, in terms of biology, they are a little bit different. For example, ticks, they have like a different life cycle. So ticks, we are going to have like larval forms, nymph, and adults. For fleas, we are going to have adults, let's follow the same order, eggs, pupa, and larvae, and adults. What is the difference, main difference between them? Ticks, all the larval or immature states of ticks, all needs to feed on the host as well. So they need to find a host to survive and molt to the next stage. Fleas don't need. Only the adult, you are only gonna find the adult stage on the host. So this is the main difference. But another difference in terms of biology and epidemiology and life cycle of these parasites is like flea infestations is very difficult to control, and usually we are going to find inside of our house. With ticks, they are in the environment. So it's basically impossible to control the environmental infestation of those parasites. With fleas, it's very complicated, but at least we have extra tools to control because everything is concentrated inside of the house. But it's very difficult, don't get me wrong, and take very, very long time to control like a flea infestation in your house, months. It's not easy, it's not fast. But this is, I think, it's the main difference. So basically, we can find like a mature stage of ticks on us or our pets, and related with fleas, only the adult, it's gonna feed on you.
How would you, or how would a listener know if their animal has a parasite? Like I have indoor cats, and it's very easy to see on the counter if they're scratching, you have that like flea dust. But what happens if somebody has a livestock guardian dog that lives outside with the sheep, or you have a cow and they are on hay? How would you know if they were covered in ectoparasites?
It's a very good question. With ticks, the first recommendations is check your dog every time. So after like any walk or any outdoor activity, you should check your dogs and look for ticks or fleas or any ectoparasite. There is no specific diagnostic test for ectoparasites, unfortunately, besides the visualization. So you see and you collect that specimen, and you can send to a lab for morphological identification, of course. But we do not have like a specific diagnostic test like for endoparasites. If you have like a GI parasites, you can collect poop and we can check in the lab and look for eggs. For ectoparasites, is more related with clinical signs and visualization itself of the parasite. As you said, like sometimes it's very difficult to detect or find these little guys on your pet, but animals also present like changes in behavior. So you can pay attention on this. So they might become restless, agitated, or engage in like excessive scratching or grooming. And you are gonna see like a different behavior. So pay attention on those signs as well.
Let's say your cow or dog has just like a couple of ticks and the owner doesn't notice it. Will they eventually go away on their own, or is it gonna just get worse and worse if there's no treatment?
It's a very tricky question. My natural answer is no. They are not never going to go away on their own. Fleas, for example, are going to bite your pet and or you, or your pet and you, replicate, lay eggs, contaminate the environment. And the new flea generation are going to bite the animal again and start another cycle, right? Not all parasites are the same, right? So the answer for these questions is largely depends on different factors like type and species of parasites, animals, immune system, environment conditions, severity of infestation, etc. So we need like an appropriate diagnostic test. Most of the case, we are going to need some intervention. So we are going to need to provide a medication to control and treat this parasite population infestation. But some parasites, not very related with ectoparasites, but for some endoparasites, for example, we can have a natural cure from the host. So largely depends of the species that we're talking about. Some lice usually are very host specific. So sometimes they are going to bite you by accident, like because they are looking for a new host, but they are knows, well, this is not the guy that I'm looking for, and they are go away. So it depends of the species. So this is a talk that you need to have with your vet for sure, based on the diagnostic test. So when you have like a confirmation of the parasites involved in the infestation, we can have like a better perspective, like if we need or not a treatment or any kind of intervention.
Mm-hmm. That makes me think, like, I know the difference between a cat and a cow is hundreds of pounds, but if each of them have like 1% parasite coverage on their fur, I don't know how we measure it, but do dogs and cats and livestock, are they all affected the same way if they get 1% of fleas, or are there some species or breeds that are more resistant to parasites? Even like goats and sheep are so similar, but their
Very
fur,
different.
their wool is so different.
Yes, it's very, very different. So again, my answer is yes and no at the same time. So both like livestock and companion animals can all be affected by ectoparasites, right? But the impact and severity of infestations can vary among this population and even among like the same individuals from the same population. So even like dogs in the same breed can have like a different reaction or present a different situation related with the ectoparasites infestation. For example, ectoparasites infestation in dogs and cats can cause like irritation, itching, allergic reactions, and many other skin disease and health issues, right? In addition to all these dermatologic issues, ectoparasites infestations in large animals can also lead to significant economic impact. For example, loss of productivity, mortality, or even secondary disease. So with large animals, we have like another factor that is the economic factor involved. So in large animals, this is in general, like not only ectoparasite, infection doesn't mean disease. We will not treat all the time. We are going to treat if we have a disease and we have like an impact in the production. It's different for small animals. For small animals, we are going to treat if they are positive because they are very close to us. They are like inside of our house. There is no economic impact factor involved on this. So it's a different approach. This is my natural answer for partially answer. But as I said before, not all animals are going to present severe clinical signs. So some individuals may show like minimal clinical signs or tolerate the parasites without any significant health issues. And other individuals, the infestation or the infection is going to be really severe. So this tolerance can be influenced by different factors like breed, environmental adaptations, individual immunity. For example, some dogs breeds might have like thicker coats that make it harder for fleas to establish an infestation. Same with cattle. So some animals, we know there is some breeds that is more resistant to tick infestations due to skin characteristic. Again, although some animals are more resistant to parasites, it's important to remember they can also be infested. So not because they are like more genetically resistant to ticks or fleas, they are immune to a tick or flea infestation. So we need to provide preventives, doesn't matter the reason, right? Or the dog breed.
Yeah. So I just inherited my third cat, and the cat came with a flea collar. I'm not too sure how long flea collars last, but it was like a brand new flea collar. And I saw this little flea right on her whisker. And I was wondering, do pills, flea collars, and sprays, do they work equally well? Or is there one better than the other? Maybe not even sprays, but there's like that liquid that you put on the back of their animals.
Topical solutions, yeah. Yeah, sprays is a little bit different, but in general, oral medications or topical products or collars, they are effective in treating and preventing ectoparasite infestation. What is matter is the active ingredient and those products. So is this that determines their effectiveness. So we have some reports of resistance in fleas, so could be the case of your cat. So it depends of the compound on those products. In general, like oral products and collar are typically effective in repelling and killing fleas and ticks. These products can be very convenient, but the choice between those methods is more related to personal preference of the pet owner, much more than like if they are efficient or not, you know what I mean? Sprays is a little bit different. They can be effective in killing parasites on contact, but their efficacy duration might be shorter compared to oral or topical or collars products. But sprays can be a good option for spot treatment. So for some pets with specific needs could be a very good option.
And how frequently should topical or pills be given? And I know, and I'm not meaning the instructions say every 6 weeks or every 4 weeks. Are these year-round things, or are these more seasonal?
Yeah, no, it's
year-round.
It's
okay.
with mainly with the flea and ticks, because as I said before, we never know when we are going to find. They are just there waiting for us. They can survive the winter. I'm from Brazil, so in Brazil it's a big issue because it's a tropical country, so we have fleas and tick all the time. Here now I'm in Philly, so in Philly it's a a little bit better because we have a very strong winter. Yes. I'm still trying to adapt to the winter. For a Brazilian person, it's a little complicated. But it's good for us in relation to parasites. So this population significantly decrease during the winter, but they are there. So they are around and they are just waiting for the right time to get a new host, right? We need to keep the preventive protocol, unfortunately, year round. Like there is no other option. Of course, how you are gonna give this product, some products are effective for a month, other for 3 months or several months, and etc. So it depends of the product, right?
Now, lots of listeners have poultry and livestock, and it's winter now. What types of ectoparasites, parasites on the outside, should livestock and poultry owners be concerned with this time of year?
I think the most significant ectoparasite infestation in poultry during this time of year is for sure mites and lice. We have some specific species of mite and lice that is very important, like the most common and economically important mite species in birds in general, not only poultry, are the red mites. So the scientific name is Dermanissus gallini. It's a beautiful name. This species can be like very problematic during the colder months because it can survive in poultry house even during the winter. They can hide in like cracks or crevice and coming out at night and feed on birds. Regarding lice infestation, there is like a number of species as well, like mites as well. We have a number of species. So we have like different species have been described in chicken and turkeys. But the chicken body louse is the most important one for sure. Menacanthus straminius, another very beautiful name. This parasite can also cause like severe irritation on those animals, can reduce egg production. So we are going to have like an impact on production. Keep an eye on this and be aware of those guys, little guys.
And listeners would know that they have lice or mites because of some feather damage.
Yes, also, yeah. It depends of the species, right? We have like some that is more aggressive than others. They are located like in different place in the poultry, but you are going to notice dermatological difference, like skin disease on those animals for sure, like dogs and cats.
Should we be concerned for our livestock and our pets regarding mosquitoes?
Yes, and flies. I should say flies is more important than mosquitoes. Yeah. But for sure, they can transmit like they are vector for different disease. Yeah. And they can cause a huge discomfort on those animals for sure.
Is there a preventative for flies?
Yes, we have a number of products
from the feed store, probably, right?
Yeah.
We posted the questions on our social media pages, and we have several questions. The first one is from Cosmo Christina, and she asks, do you know of any natural heartworm prevention that works? Because we love natural remedies and cures, but they have to work. It's not good enough that they're natural. But Carol, before you answer that, can you tell us where the heartworm comes from?
So heartworm disease, it's a vector-borne disease. So mosquitoes transmit heartworm disease. So Dirofilaremids is the name of this worm, from one dog to another. So there is no direct transmission, the direct contact. We need the mosquito. So the mosquito is the vector or intermediate host, we call intermediate host. This parasite is located in the pulmonary artery of dogs. So basically they are going to cause damage to the cardiorespiratory system of the dog. It's a very severe disease, can also infect cats and wild canids. And I love natural things as well, I should say, and I wish that we could have a natural heartworm preventive, but we do not, unfortunately. And heartworm disease is a little bit more challenging than other endoparasites because the drugs that we have available that we call preventive drugs, so microcyclactones, it's the drug class, they are effective against immature stages of heartworm. What this means, they are effective only against larval stage. They do not kill the adult worm. We do not understand very well why this happens, but filarial nematodes like Dirofilaria imids, the microcyclactones do not work on those worms, specific group of worms. So what is the problem of this? Like the treatment is very restrictive to one single class of drug called arsenicals. So melarsoline is the only drug available to kill adult worm, and it's have a very narrow safety margin. So it's a very aggressive treatment, but we do not have any other option. And do not have a treatment, it's worse than have a treatment in those cases. So prevention is the key for heartworm disease, because we are gonna keep our pets safe and are gonna avoid cardiorespiratory damage to our dogs.
All right. Jane asks, do you know of any natural flea and tick repellents? Because the internet says or offers baking soda, lemon juice, salt, rosemary. Do any of these work or work well enough to be implemented?
So my answer is going to be no. I'm a scientist, right? So I can say that we do not have any evidence that those products work. This doesn't mean that doesn't work at all. So maybe they can contribute to our preventive protocol. So they can contribute like repelling fleas and ticks, but for sure they are not 100% effective. We need more research on this for sure, and we have like a number of drugs like that we actually buy and use on our dogs and cats and companion animals came from natural compounds. So we first found like they have some activity, natural activity against like specific parasites, and after a lot of research, we developed like a well-established compound that is 100% effective or close to this effective to some parasite population. So far, we do not have like any evidence. Maybe in the future, I could have like good news and we can discuss this again.
Very good. Demi Stearns, who's been a subscriber to Mother Earth News since the 80s, asks, do indoor-only cats need flea and tick medicine if you don't have any other animals outside?
Even indoor-only cats can be at risk of flea and tick infestation for sure. And I saw a number of times here in US, in Brazil, and different states. While the risk, of course, is lower compared to outdoor cats or dogs, flea and ticks can be carried into the house by other animals like other pets, other dogs and cats, but also rodents or other small mammals that we do not have like a totally control, or even us. We can bring fleas and ticks into our house by accident in our body or in our clothes. So there is a number of options. So because of this, preventive measures are recommended to avoid infestation and potential health issues, even to indoor cats. So I would recommend those medications for any companion animals, dogs and cats, with access or without access to outdoor areas.
The last question is from Bertha Vasquez, and she's the director of the Teacher Institute for Evolutionary Science. And she asks, does the active ingredient in flea and tick medicine need to be rotated due to the parasites building an immunity,
Yeah, no, for sure, no. This is not a good decision. We have like different reports of resistance in ecto and endoparasites as well. And this is natural, like this, it's adaptation from the parasite to the compound that it's gonna happen at some point. So it's basically impossible to avoid, but we can delay. This is the key. So in the moment that you rotate different medication, you are exposing those parasites, so this parasite population to different compounds and giving them the opportunity to adapt to different compounds. So the best option here is stay with the one single product as long as possible. If it's working for you, if it's effective, if it's convenient, if your dog do not present any adverse reaction, keep the same. There is no reason to change or rotate like monthly or annually. You can keep the same for sure. And we have like different products as well with the same compound, but just with a different presentation. So sometimes oral medication is not like very convenient, or it's not convenient anymore. You can change to a topical product with the same compound. So since the compound is working, keep the same and talk with your vet. I'm sure they are going to provide like the best option for you.
So we shouldn't be concerned if the active compound says it kills 99% of the fleas. Like that 1%, we're not really worried about. We're happy that it's killing 99%.
Okay, now I'm gonna say like a research again. We do not have like 100% effective compound or 100% diagnostic test, like that is 100% sensitive or specific. Same with drugs, like it's virtually impossible. And the flea population and tick population is huge. Like there is a chance that we are gonna find a resistant tick or a resistant flea, right? So the 1%, it's totally fine. It's totally okay.
It might even say 99.9%. So I might be exaggerating. So it might even be 1/10%.
Yeah, it's very, very small because we have like a bunch of research on those compounds, right? So it's not easy if you have like a product approved, FDA approved in the US. It's because we have like a history of years and years of research. So if we got this number, it's because it's very accurate and we should believe, but it's virtually impossible to find like a product like 100% effective against any parasite.
So what I hear you saying is that if it allows 0.1% or 1% to live a year after we use this active ingredient, there's no need to swap it out for
there is no need. Yeah, if you're not seeing like a significant infestation on your dog or cat, there is no need to change the product for sure.
Correct.
We have like, not for ectoparasites, for endoparasites, for example, we have like some diagnostic tests that we can measure the effectiveness of specific compounds against specific parasites, endoparasites. So we usually say like compounds over 95% of efficacy, it's a efficient product. So you should keep using the same if it's 95% or more of efficacy against that specific target parasite. So any number over 95%, it's totally fine.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Sobotyk, for being our guest on the podcast. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Mother Earth News and Friends. To listen to more podcasts and get connected on our social media, visit our website, motherearthnews.com/podcast. You can also email us at podcast@ogdenpubs.com with any questions or suggestions. Our podcast production team includes Jessica Mitchell, Kenny Coogan, John Moore, Carla Tillman, and Alyssa Warner. Music for this episode is Travel Light by Jason Shaw. The Mother Earth News and Friends podcast is a production of Ogden Publications. Until next time, don't forget to love your mother.